Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we will start with Trump calling Russia's attacks in Ukraine disgusting and disgraceful. So let me play this video. It's a short one, about 1-2 minutes long.
Very serious question here. Russia today hit Kyiv with missiles and drones, more than 100 people, kids.
I think it's Russia. I think it's disgusting what they're doing. I think it's disgusting. This is Biden's war. It's not my war. But I said if I get in, I'll try and get the thing stopped. But I think what Russia's doing is very sad. A lot of Russians are dying. You have a lot of Russians. More Russians are dying. But Russians are dying. Ukrainians are dying. The United States isn't really involved in that war. It shouldn't be. And by the way, I made a deal with NATO where NATO pays us for everything that we send. We send them uh, ammunition, missiles, etc. And we're not paying anything for that war. But I will tell you this: it should be stopped. It's a disgrace. And the ones that are dying are they're losing 7,000 now. It was 5,000. They're losing now 7,000 soldiers a week, Ukrainian soldiers and Russian soldiers. And they're also losing people now in the towns and cities because Putin's hitting them with rockets. No, I think it's disgraceful.
You have a 10-day deadline. You imposed a 10-day deadline.
Yeah, we have about 8
Does he care
days.
about
Yeah, we're going to put sanctions. I don't know that sanctions bother him. They know about sanctions. I know better than anybody about sanctions and tariffs and everything else. I don't know if that has any effect, but we're going to do it. Europe is extremely upset. But this is a war that should have never happened. This is a war that wouldn't have happened if I were president.
Just quick comment from me as far as what he said. Again, just my personal opinion. I would say don't take what he says at the face value. There is a bigger game at play. That's how I see it. And he makes it very believable because he knows very well what Russia is doing. I am not for killing people at all. I don't support killing people, but I also understand the reasoning that Russia has. So there are many layers to this story. And as I said many times before, we are fighting the same evil. And many people know what I'm talking about. Now, as far as Russia goes, everyone, something just has been signed by Putin. And let me read you what is this. This comes from TASS. From yesterday, July 31st, Putin signs law listing crimes that could lead to loss of naturalized Russian citizenship. The list of crimes that could lead to the loss of acquired Russian citizenship has expanded by 72 items. So what is that? Extremism, murder, sexual crimes against children, and collaborating with other countries against Russia are now grounds for revoking naturalized Russian citizenship, according to a law signed by Russian President Vladimir Putin. The list of crimes that could lead to the loss of acquired Russian citizenship has expanded by 72 items. Citizenship can now be revoked for committing murder, violent sexual acts against minors, causing serious bodily harm, or, I don't know this word, involuntary, so against your will, manslaughter. The list also includes public calls for terrorist activities, justification or propaganda of terrorism, unlawful actions against Russia's criminal information infrastructure, and cooperation with a foreign state against Russia's security. Citizenship will also be revoked for knowingly assisting the enemy in activities directed against Russia's security, for publicly calling for activities directed against the state's security, for public promotion or display of Nazi symbols, and collaborating with international organizations or foreign state bodies hostile to Russia. So there you have it, everyone. Pretty clear. Now I want to read you an article about a death penalty. And I really want to ask you this question before I read you this. I want to ask you, do you think that there should be death penalty, or you think there should be a life sentence only? I really would like to know your thoughts. Leave it in the comments down below. Now, as I was opening my emails this morning, I came across this. As you know, internet recommends you the articles and the topics, and I came across this. This is someone who was sent to the death penalty, and this person is Edward Zakrzewski, who is an American with Polish roots. So yesterday, on July 31st, Edward Zakrzewski, an American with Polish roots, was executed in a state prison in Florida. This is the 9th death penalty in 1 year since it began to be used again in 1979. Let's read this and what was the reason for that. In Florida, the 9th execution of a person sentenced to death was carried out in 2025. This is a state record for the number of executions in 1 year since the US Supreme Court reinstated the death penalty in 1976. Its implementation was resumed 3 years later under new regulations. Florida has carried out more executions this year than any other state, the Associated Press reported. In the case of Texas and South Carolina, 4 death sentences were carried out each. The 10th execution in Florida is scheduled for August 19th. So this is coming in more than 2 weeks. And the next execution is scheduled for August 28. In 2029, 27 men have been already executed in the US, and 9 other people are expected to be executed in 7 other states later this year. Florida was also the last state to carry out an earlier execution. The lethal injection was given to the convict on July 15th. On July 31st this year, so yesterday, Edward James Zakrzewski, an American with Polish roots, was executed. The man died at 6:12 p.m. Eastern Time after being given 3 pharmacological agents. The execution was carried out in the Florida State Penitentiary, sorry for my pronunciation. Now this is from that person. I want to thank the good people of Sunshine State, Florida, right, for killing me in the coldest and most calculating, clean, humane, and effective way possible. I have no objections, the man said. He also quoted a fragment of the poem. So what was the murder? Zakrzewski was sentenced to murder, which he committed in June 1994. So we have 20 years, more than 20 years, right? 30 years almost, right? On his wife, Sylvia, and 2 children, 7-year-old Edward and 5-year-old Anna. The murder took place after the woman filed for divorce. Zakrzewski first attacked his wife with a crowbar and then strangled her with a rope. The man thought that the woman had survived the attack, so he hit her with a blade. The children, in turn, died from machete blows. This is horrific. His own family. The request to suspend the death penalty rejected. The last meal of the convict doesn't matter here. So I want to ask you, because this today, it's a little bit shorter video, everyone. Absolutely horrific crimes, and I'm sure there are many crimes of this nature, very, very horrific, heartbreaking, hard to put words into it, really. I want to ask you, do you think that we have a right to take someone else's life as a punishment, even though that person took the lives of 3 people, his wife and his own 2 children? I would like to know your thoughts. I have I have to be honest with you. I have mixed opinion about it. On one hand, I think yes, and on the other thing, I think no. It's very, very difficult to hear that type of crimes, but at the same time, I think, do we have a right to take someone else's life? But then I think if they sentence people who commit crimes like this, life penalty, many times, very often, those people after 20 years or number of years are released from prisons. And, you know, this was the case of his family, but there are some serial killers, right, who just go on and commit those crimes again and again. I really would like to know your thoughts on this. Thank you so much for watching today, a little bit shorter video. I hope everyone is doing great. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, hitting thumbs up, and leaving comments down below. And to everyone who supports my work, joining my Patreon, locals community, or donating on PayPal, huge thank you. I will be mentioning your names in the coming videos. And follow me on Instagram if you have one, AniaK_44. I will attach the links down below in the description box. And with this being said, lots of love. And remember, we are the leading edge and we are saving humanity. And I see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.